extra mile. You better let him run till he quits. Fighting like Moby Dick, pull him up, wait for the kiss. Show me your fish, better show me your fish, show me your fish.
This is Sport Fishing Championship.
I called it on the CBS show just a second ago. I say, I get those notifications when we're live to the world on YouTube, and that is now Peter Miller. I'm Robbie Floyd. Let's talk about the TIFF.
Yes, sir. We are in Texas right now. We've got so many boats, you can't even count them. 245 boats participating, over 1,000 anglers, and this is the 83rd running of the Bulls.
82nd. You're talking about next year. I think they've done 81. This is 82. You think it's 83? It's close. I don't know. I'll give them that extra. I'll give them one. They can grow on one. Looking live out on the water in the Gulf of Mexico, and this is a wonderful opportunity because you are seeing live. Jacelin's doing absolutely nothing on the bottom right. You've got Rebecca in their Dayglow colors. Very easy. It's an announcer's dream, right? You can identify who's who.
You gotta love these teams. They're participating and they're all in. You know, that's actually one of the team names, which is ironic. We've got Jacelyn talking right there. She's talking live. And there's her dad, Toby. We've got
the All-In Ambush. Have you heard about that? We need to ask Katie Sawyer about that. I see Ambush/All-In. They pair up?
I think when All-In comes from a different location, maybe instead of running their boat down, maybe they run with Ambush, or maybe some teammates jump on their boat. I'm not exactly sure, but that's generally they're on a different boat, but their team is all together.
Looks like an A-team in fourth with Bad Habits and Rising Sun to get in that top five. Quantified third, 6 feet deep, last year's champion in second. And Saltwalker by way of 2 Blue Marlin, including the bonus points. That's why they're in the lead right now.
Yeah, they were in the lead with 450. Then they compounded that with another 350, giving them the 800. But you see the boats sitting on those canyons. They can't cross the border and fish in the Mexican waters, so they're staying within their zones in their canyons. They got the Alaminos Canyon with Quantified and All-In fishing that same area. It's a big swath, but they're fishing the same area. Temperature changes in the water, very minimal, very similar, but they're both catching.
Got to be in that right place at the right time. Quantified has been doing it right with the sailfish bite so far. Today, 5 reported sailfish catches and release, 1 white marlin. Let's take a look at one of those catches now.
See, they're putting that line in the rigger, running that rigger up so they can continue to fish while they're cutting the gap on that fish that they have on currently in that turn. You always want to have a bait out, Robbie. Always got to be participating in the bait exchange.
So that was a handheld line, but when they put it on the rigger, it gets it away from Kyler while he's fishing.
Exactly. He'll run it, 30 feet up the rigger, and it's way out of everyone's way. But as soon as they start to back, they're going to lower that rigger down, pop it out by hand, and then go to the other side of the boat. As they start to back down, they'll be fishing off the far side, away from the angler that's hooked up.
Watch everything that goes down here.
You got two more baits while you have a fish on for sure. I can't see who's on the other side. He's getting tight. He just said it got tight. It popped out.
Dan, you want to bring yours over? All right.
That rigger did its job, right? When it gets tight, it pulls it out of that clip.
Tight, going away, good.
Communicate with me if you think you're getting a bite.
Going away.
I'm not hearing anything.
You got to put your
pop
mic
that
down
one out by hand or send it up, depending on what they're doing there.
What's going on, Tyler?
You heard Justin say, hey, you got to communicate with me and let me know if you're getting a bite.
Right under the boat. Stop reeling. Stop reeling. Damn it.
Just told him to stop reeling, and I think we know now that he's told him that before when this happens.
Directly under the boat.
Are you in the wheel?
What's it doing?
Walk. Help him out, Jake. Coach him up. Walk. What do we got?
I would go that way.
So he's stuck like Chuck.
Get your rod all the way in the water.
There's not much you can do if you're in the rudder. That's really deep down there. When you see these boats out of the water, you dive under one of these boats. We're talking 6 feet down
below.
And when you're lowering your rod tip in there and you got a 6.5-foot rod, with your arm, you're going 6 feet down, but that fish is already wrapped up in there. And maybe just one wrap. I'll tell you, that one wrap could be almost impossible to get out. It's not smooth. There's definitely definitely some hardware down there that you can get ensnared on. So you can free spool like he's saying. You can free spool. Hopefully the fish swims a different direction. You float away from the fish. You take the boat out of gear, and hopefully something happens miraculously. That's what they're all hoping for at this moment.
All with dead engine, too, because you don't want anything else.
Exactly. You don't want to get caught in the prop. You know, if you're in the rudder, you don't want to get caught in the prop next. So you can see Justin, the captain, came down. You know, he's got a weight in his hand, probably about pound and a half. A rubber band. He's going to try to sink that line without touching that line, and hopefully it'll get past the rudder. That would be, you know, this is kind of a Hail Mary pass.
Again, we don't know if this was one of their qualified catches or not. We know there was a fish on at one given time. But not only that, we know there's two fish on. There's one on this line and one on the line to the right.
Yep, and that fish is going away. The one on the right, he can't do anything about it. He's going away, swimming. Now they're back in gear, hoping for the best.
Because right now he's like, all right, we're taking our chances. You know, with this fish, whatever it is.
So they're in gear, and he's not freaking out right there. He's dropping back. Hopefully, he's thinking it came off. Had it been in the props, it would have been ripping line off his rod.
Yeah.
Now he's decided to go after the fish that is in the port corner there. The water's coming in. They're going fast into the incoming or oncoming seas. And he's, you know, broken that fish off. We don't know if they had gotten the release already, but it definitely got caught in the rudder.
And that shows you why they also need that video verification. We have a camera on this is one of our featured teams, but you see they have their camera. They're obligated to do that. All of these teams that are fishing, 86 of them on the offshore side of it.
And it's a continuous rolling of the camera. Once you start filming a fish, you got to identify it, and you never turn the camera off. And if you have a malfunction, you got a problem.
But it's for you and it's for the tournament as well, right? I mean, I'm here to prove why I did what I did.
Exactly. The tournament has to see it.
Are we looking at it? What are we doing? We got him there.
There it is, sailfish right there. So that was most likely a double header sailfish. Again, we don't know what happened if they got that fish prior to getting caught in the rudder. You know, they're going to redeploy the baits and get after it. They're not going to cry about it. There's no crying in fishing, Robbie.
There's no crying in sport fishing championship.
Dropping that big horse ballyhoo out with their squid chain. Then the dredge is going, and then they're going to have 4 baits out, 2 in the riggers, 2 off the transom back corners, and they're going to be ready with a marlin pitch if a big boy or a big girl shows up.
So did you see the bigger ballyhoo that time?
Yeah, that was a horse ballyhoo on the end of that squid chain.
At the end of our CBS
with
show,
no
we saw
hook in it.
We saw at the end of our other
in
show.
answer to your question.
Big horse ballyhoo with no hook in it. Yeah, gotcha. Quantified. Doing well. 1, 2, 3, 4 sails in that white mixed in between. 5 total sailfish. Catching the multiples, but they are sailfish. Catching multiples on the white marlin side is the defending champ, the winner last year's Tift event, 6 feet deep.
And they're sitting pretty with catching whites and catching sails. They're looking good, and they're sending this footage to our tournament director, and they're getting it right to us.
Yeah, 3 and 2, 3 whites, 2 sails. This was one of the sails, right? Yep. Getting multiples. You need to just keep racking them up. They'll get to fish until 6:30 local time.
I'm liking that scoreboard on the right-hand side of the screen. That's really nice.
Makes it easier.
See, another fish that's racing at the boat, just like they have with a quantified. You know, that belly of line goes in there and they dart under, and that's something we haven't really seen that on any of the shows that we broadcasted, where we had a fish get caught up in the running gear, as what it's called, and this fish could have done the same.
In the belly of the line, and in layman's terms, it's slack, right? I mean, it's the distance from point A to point B, and that trough of where that line's heavy.
If there's a ton of line in the water, a giant belly, that fish could come up somewhere else, because a lot of times the captain's doing a lot of different things. He's directing everybody. You still have 3, 4 baits out. You still have dredges out, teasers out, and you're trying to catch the fish. You're trying to multiply your points. Now, all of a sudden you have a big belly in the line. It could come up off the bow, but guess what? It came up onto the boat and it went right into the running gear.
Yeah.
But they may have gotten that leader again. We don't know. We're just seeing what we see, and we're letting you know what we're seeing, and you guys are seeing the same thing we are.
See what you're saying.
It's unofficially official, what I just said. So White Marlin there on the leader for Sigsbee Deep.
What time we got? 7:47.
7:47, that was local time. So
We got their scrunchies on.
8:47 East Coast time. Again, all our times we do from Eastern. Seeing Sigsbee Deep's catches today. We've also seen, we haven't seen them, any video, but we're seeing other championship fish being caught. We did see one wahoo, but we had reports of mahi being caught. We could have a new championship leader. There's some big mahi in these waters as well.
Yeah, and it's tough to determine the size of that wahoo when we saw the angle, because when you shoot from the head down, you know, wide angle
Yeah,
lens, you never
can't
know.
tell.
It's show me your fish, you know, how big is it? Are you holding it out? Are you extending your arms? What are you doing? You long arm nationing it?
Been there, done that before. Looking at our feature teams, again, general areas that they're out onto into the drop-offs, the canyons, including Team Rebecca, one of our championship hopefuls.
They're on their 63 FNS with Clint Clark running the boat. And we got our cameraman Marcos out there
Marcos.
watching the action with his camera. You hear the dredges coming in. That's some heavy-duty power right there, Robbie. That's not a 20 amp. That's not a 30 amp. That's
Yeah.
at least a 50 amp.
Rebecca, fourth in our SFC championship title hunt. Their three best finishers are a third, a seventh, and a second place. So that second really tells the story. That second, you can carry it over because we don't quantify it has a second. They're looking for 2 wins to end this season.
And he's got his belt on. Remember, we talked about that belt. He's got everything on that belt. He's got his mate saver to cut the fish away. He's got his pliers. He's prepared for everything. I like that. And it matches his shirt.
Go Gadget Bill.
Yep, that's a Go Garanimals. Port Aransas, Texas. Looks like a big sailfish, Robbie. That looks like a big one.
But they count the same, right? I mean, point-wise, if it's big or small.
10 pounds to 100 pounds.
Other than locally, if it is a big sale, they might bring that one in. They can do that on the local side. That's something that's a little different. I think it's the first time we've seen that.
Yes.
Where, you know, those fish could be brought in, but not for the Sport Fishing Championship. It's all catch and release.
As Ed McMahon used to say to Johnny, you are correct, sir.
That's weird, wild stuff. I did not know that. There's generations of people have no idea what we're
People are just
talking
like,
about.
what are those two guys talking?
Who is Johnny Carson?
And then there's other people going, man, those guys know what they're talking about. And whoever those guys are, we really like you
Yeah,
guys.
we're
We
playing to
appreciate
you.
And you youngins, you get schooled on your late night talk shows.
This is Reed Jones, and yeah, we had mentioned about the points count the same, whether it's a big or small, but if it is over a certain length, they could bring this fish in for the local side of things because we're looking for points in a title. They're looking to win the local event. We saw that, a week ago in Block Island. Gypsy did not win the event. They didn't win the battle, but they won the war of coin.
With that big eye tuna.
Yeah.
That one tuna brought them over $500,000.
So yeah, the local side of the tournament, a lot of money on the line. I don't know if we've got the total payout of what it is here. I know we're over $1 million at the last stop at Block Island.
See, that's got a chugger head on it. That's a ballyhoo with a little chugger head on it. And
Lead head, same thing?
What's that?
Lead head, chugger head, same thing?
No, usually just plastic. It can have a concave head, and it can be pushing a little water, throwing a little smoke trail, and a lot of guys will use that for white marlin. Just it protects the bait and throws a little more smoke, makes it more obvious to the fish that they're trying to get.
So it's
but
just-
the fact that they're measuring this fish right here tells you that it's a big sailfish.
Yeah.
You know, most of the sailfish you catch, you go, oh, pretty good, pretty good, and every now and then you go, oof, that is a big summertime sailfish.
And then there's a mahi-mahi that they caught too. Did they possibly bring it in as well? It could be our championship fish. Leader in the mahi-mahi division. Right now, just looking, is Gus Rantz from the Gulf Coast Masters at a 33.6. We've seen bigger than that caught this year. We've seen way bigger than that, but you have to pay that $250 to be eligible as an individual.
There was a 59.9 caught, but they
Yeah.
weren't in the pot, so.
Yeah, no,
That
didn't make a difference, did it?
That big boy went to waste on that in
Yeah,
that regard,
yeah,
but didn't
that
go to
one-
waste the dinner table.
That was a big mistake, Peter. Maybe our biggest of the year, because that was probably a $50,000 fish on a $250 investment. Saltwalker trying to walk away with it. Use the force, Luke Saltwalker.
SFC coverage of the Texas International Fishing Tournament is sponsored by Visit South Padre Island, Total Home Performance, Denison Yachting, and by Salt Life.
When it comes to performance, comfort, and functionality, we've got you covered. Performance apparel designed by anglers to make your time on the water better than ever. Salt Life, the official apparel sponsor of the Sport Fishing Championship.
Whether you like to ride the wind, find your secret cove, or reel them in. Plot your paradise with GPS Map Series from Garmin.
This spring, settle in and reconnect with one another. South Padre Island has so many great places to stay. Condos, resorts, and hotels. Oh my! Book your spring getaway today. And start making memories poolside with the people you care about most. Visit SoPadre.com.
When you're serious, you are as excited to wake up for a 4 a.m. fishing trip as you were when you were a kid. It means winning 3 World Sailfish Championships. It means you know what you need and what you don't. Being serious means seeking out the ultimate fishing machine, which is what Peter Miller has found in the unmatched handling, speed, and comfort of an Invincible.
Pine tar, bay rum, all natural, all natural.
It's time for your old soap to take a
hike with Dr. Squatch, the best natural men's soap, deodorant, shampoo, and so much more.
Dr. Squatch is for players like Justin Herbert, who are here to shake things up, who break records and hearts, who are tough on the outside and soft on the skin side, who only use natural performance enhancement and want their end zone to be fresh.
Go to drsquatch.com today. Feel like a man, smell like a champion.
Are you ready for the ultimate luxury fishing experience? Join the Sport Fishing Championship talent on the SFC Experience, where you'll explore incredible fisheries and enjoy world-class hospitality from diverse cultures and SFC partner locations. With the SFC Experience, you'll create unforgettable memories with friends, families, or colleagues. Book your trip today and embark on the adventure of a lifetime with the SFC Experience.
SFC coverage of the Texas International Fishing Tournament is sponsored by BioLite, Mercury Marine, Durabright, and by Hop Water, a non-alcoholic sparkling hopped water.
38 billfish caught already. We still got more fishing time to go. They got about 4 more hours out there in their fishing day, and they re-rack, restack, and go at it tomorrow for the Texas International Fishing Tournament. 82nd running, maybe 83rd. Peter thinks 83rd.
I live in the future, Robbie. I don't know.
It's our 10th stop of 12. We're going to crown a champion in the golf. Here this week, we're going to crown a champion for the Sport Fishing Championship in Puerto Rico. We're also going to maybe have an awards show as well, I've been hearing as well. But I hope we're all a part of it. Welcome to the Sport Fishing Championship. Those of you watching live, she's Katie, I'm Robbie, he's Peter. And Katie, it looks like the weather's nice there once again. What have you, when watching the CBS show, what were you able to pick up what we were throwing down?
Well, Robbie, the weather is really nice here in South Padre Island, Texas, but as you can see behind me, the wind's kind of ripping. The good news for the guys offshore is that wind is really just strong here along the coastline. We have a big concert coming in tonight with Clayton Anderson. They're doing a sound check behind me, and everything's looking really good.
Margaritaville.
You know, when you talk about Margaritaville, it just makes you want to get involved, and when you know Clayton's showing up, you definitely want to get involved. We've seen a lot of fish. We talked a lot about the fishing, but you know, when I look at this image on the screen here, it just brings me back to my youth, and it reminds me of the Brady Bunch. And it was a story about a man named Brady.
No, don't go there.
It was bringing up three very lovely boys, all of them. I reversed it. It was a lady with hair of gold. Anyway.
Hey, we've got this new graphic on the side.
You're killing me, Peter. You're killing me.
Don't do it. We got the new graphic on the side, and Peter was acknowledging how he liked the leaderboard and stuff. We see Gus Rance just looking with that big mahi-mahi. You're from these neck of the woods. What's your biggest mahi-mahi? What's the biggest that you've seen from these Gulf of Mexico waters?
Man, these Gulf of Mexico waters can be so prolific with all sorts of different types of pelagic species. You get really warm water up here, and as a result, you get a lot of spawning and breeding fish. They can grow so big and so quickly, and the mahi is the fastest growing pelagic fish in the ocean. They can get very big out here. It would not be unlikely to see an upwards of 50-pound mahi caught this weekend at the 83rd Tift.
You know, you bring up a great point, Katie. Those mahi grow about 5 pounds a month if they're in fertile waters. So, I mean, you know, you talk about 10 months, that's a 50-pound mahi. So when you go to Gaff one, you don't feel too badly about it because you know they're like prolific, like you said. But, you know, we see that Rebecca has caught a mahi. Have you heard anything about the size of that mahi, or is it just, you know, a regular gaffer?
You know, I actually have not heard anything about Rebecca's mahi. It really could go either way. I know that they're not often as small as you see in, I don't know, maybe South Florida, Peter, but they can be a good sized chicken dolphin, or like you said, upwards to very large. So
she busted on
really
your
exciting that Rebecca
Florida
has a mahi on the deck.
I think she was
You know,
busted on
I'm
your
not
small
sure
Florida
if that was a pot shot at Florida mahi, but I have caught 50-pounders in mahi, so take that pot shot back. You could take that and put it in your bread basket. But anyway, I see Gus Rance with a nice tuna right there with a really nice big eye. Is anybody catching tunas? Anybody catching anything other than billfish right now, the big boys?
Well, that's a great question. I have not heard any reports of tuna being caught because I haven't heard any reports of tuna fishing. You know, we were just up in the Northeast where it's so tuna-centric, tuna culture up there. Here this weekend, these fishermen are mostly focusing on light tackle fishing. We're seeing a lot of sails on the board. We're seeing a lot of white marlin on the board. Excuse me. The current leader right now has 2 blue marlin, which means that they're most likely fishing the Perdido oil rig, which is about 120 miles offshore, and there might be tuna out there. But for most of the teams fishing light tackle along the ledge between 40 and 80 miles offshore, they're probably not going to be seeing a lot of tuna, but they will have the opportunity at some mahi.
What about our top 5 as we see everyone from Bad Habits up to Saltwalker? Do you know anything about these teams? Do you know anything about Saltwalker, say A-Team? Give us some inside scoop. I don't have where they're from or who's on board.
You know, I've never even heard of the name Saltwalker. I know Walk West is a team from my hometown, Port Aransas, but Saltwalker is not one I know. We have quite a few teams like the Rebecca, the Ambush, who Team All In is fishing with this weekend. The captain of that boat's actually the kid brother of my middle school best friend, so that's just crazy
Give him
stuff.
a shout
It's
out.
a small
Who is it?
town down here. But Zach Gaskins, yeah, absolutely. Good people. Little Doc Rat, he used to chase us around all the time. I'm sure he loves that I'm saying this right now. So it's a lot of fun. They're a great fishing team. Good guys, good teams. Those guys left out of Port Aransas yesterday evening so that they could be ready to fish at Lions End today. We had quite a few Port Aransas boats come down to South Padre. in my opinion, probably to get an opportunity to pre-fish as well as be even closer to the ledge from the dock. So, yeah, there's some interesting stuff going on, some good fishing and some good teams.
Good info, good scoop. Thank you, Katie. Appreciate all the info, the 911, and her buddy from back at school day is going. Who knew Katie would turn out to be that?
Robbie, that's a 411. A 911's an emergency. A 411 is information.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, you know, sometimes if you get the 411, there might be a 911 involved.
That's true.
But you don't want a 147. That's bad news.
I don't even know what that is.
It's bad news.
Well, we saw the Perdido, and I mentioned by Katie just a moment ago that rig out there, and we're seeing where Rising Suns was hooked up with something big. We now know that it was a blue marlin. We knew that after about, what, a 2.5-hour fight, but she finally was able to get it up to the top.
She's using everything she's got, you know. 105 pounds soaking wet, and she's cranking a big fish in with heavy gear. That is a big reel, and that is a big rod. They probably have 80-pound tests on there, maybe 130 if they were feeding it a live bait, depending on, or maybe it was a lure, but definitely big tackle. She's ready for it. The captain's maneuvering the boat perfectly. The crew is patiently waiting for her to crank it in, but right now you see it's a stalemate. She's got her C-mount harness, straps inside out on the eyelets at the top of the reel. She's got her cantilevered handle, comfort zone, and she's in a beautiful bucket harness seat on that chair on their Viking.
She is worked up, been fighting this fish for hours. Her father, Toby Berthelot, is not lighting her fire right now.
High five. High five. Somebody's going to high five him.
Yeah, she left her hanging there. And Peter, I said it to you. She doesn't look so happy because she's the only one having to fight this fish. They don't know what she feels like right now.
Robbie, I've been in the corner for 2.5 hours on stand-up in 30-knot winds offshore, winding on a 280-pound swordfish. And I'll tell you what, the jokes were not going with me. Do not joke with me at that time. I mean, you got a lot of adrenaline. You're exhausted. You just don't have the energy. So that's what she was kind of letting him know, like, hey, Pops, love you, but I got to do some work here.
Yeah, and I'm sure they probably sprinkled some Lucky Charms out there in the water.
They're always after Jacelyn's Lucky Charms. She's got a Lucky Frog. They've got a Lucky Chicken.
Yeah, the Thunder Chicken. We need to come up with a name. I'm sure it's got a name.
You see that mate saver attached to the tip of that stick there?
Yeah.
And they also have a tag stick on the tip of that. That is a multi-tool. We got a Swiss Army pole there.
You're trying to see if that fish is 110 inches or longer from the tip to the fork, they can
from the lower jaw to the fork. That's right.
Oh yeah, from the lower jaw to the fork. Rising Suns released that blue marlin at 121. Jason said it was right around 110 inches. We'll see if there are any qualifiers out there in the Gulf of Mexico that bring in some bigs this week.
How do they keep raising those big fish like that? How do they keep doing that? They're just consistently catching big fish behind the boat. But earlier today, let's take a look at Who Dat. That was first thing in the morning. Got the angler in the chair working on a fish. And that Who Dat, you know, sometimes you wonder where these names come from, Robbie.
Who Dat think they don't catch them fish.
Who is a wahoo, a small wahoo is a weehoo, and then you have the term from that area, which is Who Dat. Right? You've heard it quite a bit from that area, especially the bayou.
So we know if it's a wahoo, we go wahoo or wahoo, but what do you do if it's a weehoo?
If it's a weehoo, you go, oh, pickles, and you just shake them off and you put them back and let them swim away.
There's Jacelyn Berthelot, who's leading the championship division. We're the largest wahoo of the year in the Sport Fishing Championship of those qualified entrants. If this angler, Johnny Yerger, posted that $250, entry fee, he has a chance of winning $50,000, not only for this fish, but the big eye tuna.
Something tells me that he did, and as we watch this, Robbie, you got to be like an armchair quarterback, right? That's kind of what we're doing at this moment. We don't have all the deets.
Yeah.
We know he's winding on a fish. The boat looks relatively stationary. As far as I know, I feel like they're not sure what the species is. I mean, unless they saw it kind of on the surface way back there, but the way they're fighting it, not with the boat in gear, bumping ahead a little bit, just trying to stay tight. It leads me to believe that maybe they think it's a marlin, maybe it's a small blue, maybe it's a tuna. But, you know, it's definitely a different fight because typically you're using high-speed trolling techniques for these wahoo. You're using inline les with cable, you have shock leaders, you have a whole setup, and you dedicate it strictly, specifically to wahoo fishing. I don't believe they did that.
Maybe, well, let's look at it this way also, though. They could go out last night. They couldn't fish till 6:30 in the morning. This says 7:30 roughly, but that is 6:30 local time. They caught this fish within the first 10 minutes of fishing. Maybe they spotted it and couldn't put the lines out there until that time.
That would be a tough spot in that low light condition, Robbie. That's, you know, that's also a creative thought. You know, we're trying to put together a story here, but, you know, that's a very low light condition, and you're typically not going to see a wahoo on the surface during that time. They're usually subsurface. Possibly saw them on the sounder, on the Garmin sounder.
Still can't put the rod in.
Right, and that happens. I remember seeing 5 sailfish coming down sea, right? 5 minutes before a tournament. Lines were in at 8. It was 7:55. I yelled to the captain, there's 5 sailfish tailing by the boat. Spin around. Let's set up south of them. And he kind of, you know, shooed me away. And I said, all right, everybody, lines in. The boat just south of us starts out with a quad. We got a quad hooked up. I'll never forget that moment.
What was that captain's name?
I don't want to talk about it. He's a good man, but it was just
He's a good man with a wrong decision.
It was before headphones.
It was a good man with a poor decision.
I told you we blew all we were all fucking on the end, on the back of the boat.
Just shows you how those sailfish swim in packs. I happened to be eye level with a wave, and I saw tails coming down the wave, and they were just snaking down the waves. That's called tailing down the waves, using the inertia of the power of the waves coming down, because they don't want to waste their energy. They're feeding machines. They want to gobble like Pac-Man. So you want to get your baits in front of them, you'll catch every single one of them if you do it. But we just didn't spin in time, put the baits out. I think we came in 3rd in that tournament, but we would have had a 1st. Shoulda, woulda, coulda.
I like that Texas flag on the hat. Who that?
This is quite a long battle.
Yeah, it is. And we know it's a wahoo, right?
Yes, we do. Here it comes.
54-foot post is their boat. First time.
That is a marlin lure, folks.
So it's a surprise, maybe, huh?
2 hands on the gap leads me to believe it's over 50.
It's a big fish. Is it big enough? Is he qualified for this? We know a man who's qualified to sing in front of thousands. Clayton Anderson tonight, 7 Central, South Padre Island. Visit South Padre Island. I wish we were visiting right now.
He's the man, and he told us, you know, about that song. I asked him, I said, you know, you brought me into the country music scene with that song because I love the lyrics. And he told me, he said, Peter, you know, billfish, that's the guy you want to go for. Crappies, not so much. You marry a bass guy, he's going to be gone a lot. So show me your fish.
He said, if your boyfriend's catching sailfish, he's got some money. You might want to stick with him. There's definitely some money in this sport.
In Puerto Rico, we call ourselves Boricua. We are proud, passionate, and full of life. On our island, adventure finds you. Strangers aren't strangers for long. The size of the audience doesn't change the beauty of the music, and we celebrate every last ray of sun. Live Boricua.
Salt Life, the official sunglass partner of the Sport Fishing Championship.
Every day on the water is a blank canvas. You can reach new waters and ride endless waves. So drop the hammer or the anchor and let adventure be your guide. Mercury engines are made for exploring. So are you. Go boldly.
Hey y'all, I'm Amanda Shaw. We all know Louisiana is as fun as all get out. So get out, take a road trip, and explore our state. fill her up? Then try a new restaurant that's as fun-loving as it is food-loving. Grab the family and take off for monumental adventures at our 21 state parks, or take a magical minivan tour along our 19 scenic trails and byways. Louisiana's a trip. Take one today.
This is Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser. Plan your road trip at LouisianaStaycation.com.
Whether you like to ride the wind, find your secret cove, or reel them in. Plot your paradise with GPS Map Series from Garmin.
When you're serious, you are as excited to wake up for a 4 a.m. fishing trip as you were when you were a kid. It means winning 3 World Sailfish Championships. It means you know what you need and what you don't. Being serious means seeking out the ultimate fishing machine, which is what Peter Miller has found in the unmatched handling, speed, and comfort of an Invincible.
SFC coverage of the Texas International Fishing Tournament is sponsored by Garmin, Invincible Boats, Texas Sport Fishing Yacht Sales, and by SFC Experience.
Fishing time is still this time. They fish till 6:30 on this first day. They fish till 4 o'clock tomorrow on the final day. Tournament director for TIFF, Christy Collier, got a lot of work to do, both on the bank and everything that's going on out there on the waters. TIFF president Art Delgado this year. We're looking at the fine beaches of South Padre Island. We're looking at the fine teams out there in the water. We've got our featured teams, Peter, but we don't with 100% certainty know what all of our other teams are doing. They're supposed to call in the catches. Sometimes they play the telephone game and say to this boat via the radio because they can't get back to shore. Some we're getting directly from
That's right, pass it down the line via the radio, so a committee boat or anyone that can hear can jot it down. But they definitely keep records of it. And if they're out of communication, they definitely have videos, and they have everything written down, and they're able to view everything. So
you wouldn't want that, would you? You would want to be one of the teams that's able to do it by text, so that way nobody else hears those call-ins, right?
That's a good case scenario. Especially when the bite's hot in a certain area, you don't want everybody running to it. It's happened to me before when we were crushing the sailfish, and we were all by ourselves, and we couldn't miss. Every time we went by a certain area, we'd hook up. And then all of a sudden, somebody called somebody, and we had 15 boats around us. I'm telling you, they came from out of nowhere, from 15 miles away, and they raced up on us, and they started circling around us, taking, 3/4 of the fish that we could have caught.
Now, how do they, is it because somebody recognized your boat, and we're seeing Van with this? So they recognized your boat, and you made that call in. I was like, how would they know where you're at?
Radar. They use radar, and they'll get a blip on the screen if they have good equipment, if they have Garmin equipment, or they'll be using binoculars. I mean, you can usually see with good binoculars or radar, and then you could find that boat and say, oh, they're the one that's catching it.
That's why you guys are so good going, oh, that's a 60 whatever Spencer, oh, that's an F&S,
Exactly.
That's a Viking.
You know every engine, the shape, oh, that's a Mercury. Definitely way different than a Suzuki. Definitely way different than a Yamaha. Those Mercury engines are, one of a kind. And you can see that. And you can see the hull, the shape of the boat, the way it trims down on the back. You see a Carolina flare on a big sport fish, or you see a Viking flare, and you could tell the difference between the Hatteras, the Viking, the Bertram, the Spencer. They're all so different. And that's when you got to, look into it a little further, try to confirm what you believe is correct.
We're looking at one of Quantified's catches from earlier today. Quantified still sits in third right now. No updates while we've been on YouTube. Still 38 reported billfish catches from all of our teams.
Team Quantified hooked up with that white marlin. It's kind of scoped out, or it was down and dirty. It's scoping a little bit. There's not much you can do at this point. And as soon as the captain starts to back, he could see the fish coming up to the surface from the tower. And now they're going to go back on it.
I want to give a shout out to Matt Klosterman, too, because I don't know, he never gets love. We saw him in a little video piece earlier. He's the one having to input the stuff on site there, and he lets us know what these guys are catching. So thank you, Matt.
Yeah, without Matt, you know, getting these videos, some of these videos in, and doing this leaderboard and running some of these tournaments and being the liaison. Wow.
Very friendly.
Wow, you owe me a beer on that one. Between the anglers and our crews, I mean, he's doing a phenomenal job. So thanks, Matt.
Did I tell you I stopped drinking?
Oh, you did?
I don't know.
You're not sure?
Not sure.
Okay, well, we'll see. We'll see after this is done.
Points for quantified. Looking at our live shots, what's going out on the water. Oh, is Toby actually going to get to touch a rod and reel? I hadn't seen him do that in a while.
That's a live bait right there. Toby's got the big guns out, and he's got a live bait in his fingers,
Look at the
waiting for the fish to move and do something erratic.
What is that?
Boy,
is that a grenade?
It looks like a little baby buoy. It kind of looks like
baby buoy bump.
Like Tom Hanks in Castaway.
Tell us what you're doing, Justin. Tell us what you're doing.
So I'm just coloring in the thing, and each one of them's got different ones. So we, all the black marks are blue marlin, the silver ones are sailfish, and the red is white marlin. So this is our 2023 season, and this is our 2022 season. So catching a lot of fish. I actually forgot to.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is really cool. It's nice to keep track of something, a nice memento, you know, for the team. It's kind of, you know, better than any trophy they could probably get.
You know what
Those
I got
are a lot
out
of
this
memories.
Too? With the way we're working towards is, you know, our producer Mike probably said, "Hey, what is she doing on there?" The cameraman can do that. We can ask questions. Maybe we get to talk to these guys as they're fishing on the water. Team Rebecca earlier today. I mentioned FNS, the 63-foot FNS out of Port Aransas. Captain Clint Clark, and one of the best dressed teams of our fleet.
That's right. You got to match the hatch, and that's what they're doing. They're matching the shirts. They got their hoodies on, and it's all about unity, you know. And that's what these guys have. They're a team. They're a family. You know, they stay out there for days on end and fish together, you know, weekly, and probably been fishing together their whole lives.
And although they're not from South Padre Island, Port Aransas is just up the coast a little bit. You know, they spent many a day in these Gulf of Mexico waters. Even if you're from Port A, you're probably running to the same spots you would take off and go to here.
They're going at a pretty good clip right now. And he's winding, he's gaining a lot of line on that fish, getting that belly out of the water. It's probably popping across the surface. You know, and they want to stay tight on that fish.
See the other guys cleaning house?
Yep, taking everything out of the way. You don't want to get tangled up in those teasers or those dredges. See you moving the line from side to side there. Sometimes you're avoiding maybe a piece of debris, a piece of flotsam or jetsam they call it, or maybe it's a big clump of sargassum, you know, you don't know. And there's a live shot in the lower corner there. So we've got our shot from earlier with a hookup and the fighting a fish, and now waiting for another bite as we speak.
Reel. I love the blue water, the cobalt blue. And I remember going out with a friend of mine fishing in those waters, and now I'm scared after watching all the shark videos after Shark Week. But that is out there with me somewhere, and that also makes me pucker a little bit.
You see their teasers, their squid chains are in the boat, their dredges are hanging high, nothing is in their way, and they're ready to redeploy after that 125 points, or was that a sail? I missed that part, Robbie.
My money's on, it was Rebecca, so we know it was a sail.
Sailfish.
Yeah, we know it was a sail. Yeah, I got to go out with Captain Bill Cannon. It was about 10, 15 years ago, a big fisherman down here, and I think he lives on your side of Florida nowadays. I hope to maybe see him at the White Marlin Open next week. Quantified. Looks like they're generally near the East Breaks in the Alaminos Canyon. Looking for more big fish. They need some more blues in there. Quantified is doing this right now with sailfish. 5 sails and 1 white on the day.
Keeping that tip down low, still bumping ahead, still deploying baits. Riggers are going up. You know, you're going to fish. The whole time you're in forward, you're going to be fishing behind the boat. Closing the gap. There's that big horse ballyhoo, Robbie.
Yeah.
See it laying there, that big floppy jalopy at the end of that squid chain. Bird is leading the group, and then it goes squids all the way down to that big horse
The squid
ballyhoo.
chain he's talking about sitting on the deck right there, up on the top.
gunnel,
those
yep.
green thingies with the fish on the
The
end.
green thingies.
Well, I went technical on you that time. And they're inline. You know, some people you see the dredges and they're all spread out
They've
like
got
an
arms,
umbrella.
the dredge bars, or yeah, exactly. They got flippy floppies. There's all kind of.
There's
That's
a
an
lot
actual
of
term.
technical.
That's an actual term. That's
No, it is
yeah,
not.
it sure is. We'll be looking this up when we tap out of this one. Jake Graves, the angler on Team Quantified, backing up, going after that fish, meaning that the other angler is fishing off the far corner on the port side. He's dragging that bait, hoping for another bite. But usually at this point, you brought everything in.
Jake's done well this year. I mean, he was our designated angler, you know, a few tournaments back, maybe the ECBC or something. We've seen Kyler.
Yes, he's the DA on this sailfish, that's for sure.
Sailfish assassin. They're not looking to kill him, though. They're looking to catch a release. Are they hooked up again on the live shot? I think I saw somebody reeling to the left on the live shot.
It looks like he's dropping.
Yeah, so he could be dropping back. This is looking at all in right now. So it's a live look back.
Oh,
and
he's
again,
tight. He's tight.
It's their combo team. Well, that's why I said I saw the angler that was to the left reeling in.
We got our cameraman, Justin Hodge, on that boat. My boy Justin, it was his birthday. Happy birthday, Justin.
Happy birthday.
They're on the 61 Viking. We got Greg Trenner leading that crew. They're on a combo boat. All-in team is fishing on the Ambush.
Captain Blake Bridges. Captain Blake.
Looks like a white.
Uh-oh, think it's a white. That could be worth more points than a sail.
That's good news.
We're going to know for sure if you get it up here. Let's listen in. And want to remind everybody, this is live. Everything they say can and will not be used against us.
And a quart of fishing.
Yes.
Winding fast. The fish is coming at them. They're back and they're closing that gap. There's that fast rate of retrieve. That's what you want going on.
And this is what happens at times if it's live. But again, this is, and we're on the web. So, I mean, it
happens on my cell phone while I'm sitting at my house in the middle of the city. So, I mean, if it can happen there, it can happen anywhere.
We may have to rejoin them if it stays out for a while because the sound's still coming through, but the vid a little tougher. And, you know, back in the day, we used to get some of this video and it was all cell phone, you know, and we know how bad your cell phone can be. But now with the satellite, things have been much, much better.
Yeah, it looks like we're getting back to it. All the bits are coming back. The bits and bytes. There we go. I feel like I just woke up and I rubbed my eyes and I cleared them out and we're back on the fish.
That'd be a clear day for me. It wasn't anything Jay Hodgie did.
No, this is, you know, this is probably a big jet plane. Could be a 777 from American Airlines with those lay-down seats.
Look at you trying to get that. Look at you trying to get that.
Come on, American Airlines, give me a free ticket somewhere.
I had to throw my executive platinum status out there to try and get on standby just so I could get here and be with you.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy being breezy, Robbie. But yeah, so they're fighting a fish right here. Team All In, again, combined with Team Ambush on their boat in the 61 Viking. And they believe it's a white marlin. This is live and direct, as my friend Chris Jones would say.
Chris Jones?
Yep.
Did he sign?
Kansas City Chiefs. They said they're close, very close to signing. Very close to signing.
Supposed to say it.
It's on the national news.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, you just look it up.
He's your buddy, but I'm saying don't
Jones.
say that because then the teams will hold him hostage even more.
Something interesting happened along the way in the negotiations. Another defensive tackle got even a bigger number.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so it made his number look like, okay, well, there's a shot.
Yeah.
I like it.
Up, and we just dipped out. Up. You look at, look at the Gulf Division, so what we can see there. Well, look, one team has a fish. Why not look at Rising? Toby actually catches fish.
Toby is using a right-handed spinner. I didn't know this about you, Toby.
Oh, my goodness.
A right-handed spinner,
He
wow.
works on both sides of the reel.
He does. He is a multi-turner, and Turner and Hooch. Look at that chicken hanging off that rod up there. That's his good luck chicken. He was squeaking.
Is he bait fishing right now? Because
No, he wouldn't be pumping it that hard because you'd lose your baits if you worked that hard at him, I think.
So now we're looking at that 2 box, all in to the left, rising sun to the right. I was joking.
Oh, no, it is bait. You're right, Robbie.
We saw the rig there, so I thought there was a chance.
He's catching bonita, probably.
You got to let him do something. I mean, he's a great videographer, cheerleader, boat owner.
Ooh, look at that. What do they got there?
Bait
Nice
catcher.
bonita or a little tuna?
Oh,
Let's
that's
see.
a nice size. That's fun size right there.
Let's see. Is that a trophy fish or just a tuna?
How do we get that blue runner all the way out there?
Let's see what we got here.
Do they use blue runners?
Yes. These blue runners for tuna, mainly. But if there's a marlin around, they'll gobble it down. That is a skipjack tuna. It's all in the tuna family. A lot of people say those are better eating than the bonitas, which...
Oh, that needs to be... In a quick... Oh.
Where does it leave you? Still fighting that fish there on the team all in. They believe it's a white marlin based on the profile of the fish. Came up and ate. You know, a lot of times you'll see the pecks of a white marlin, you know, show up and they're just lit like a, you know, they're coming in at night on an airplane.
Trying to watch and see what's going down. Again, we're watching it as you are, and we have these feeds at times, so sometimes we will be able to see some of these fish catches during the day. We've got a board that looks like the Brady Bunch, as you'd mentioned, and we see these live catches, but right now this is live. We're in the studio. Someone's a little more down and dirty. We saw Toby Berthelot just a second ago catching bait fish. I was about to ask you, as far as bait fish and the way that these billfish react to them, are they going to be more finicky? Is that why you need to find the right style of tuna? Or the skipjack, as they say, I don't like that. I'm not that kind of guy.
You know, a lot of times, Robbie, a marlin will come up and they'll be looking around. There'll be a school of fish that they're following, and all of a sudden they'll see a hooked bait that's swimming slightly differently. Maybe it's struggling a little more, and it darts from side to side. The boat's in gear. They're kind of trying to keep the fish tight. And now we've got Quantified in the left corner, and it looks like they may have just hooked up as well.
Nice.
And it could be a double because there was a lot of activity there on the corner.
Yeah, there's a bow on the left, and it looks like the angler to the right was pretty animated, wasn't he?
Yes.
Oh, we see jumping. Oh, we got a jumper.
Looks like that's definitely a sailfish there. Still in gear. Still moving ahead.
Uh-oh. Did I see something? I thought I saw something maybe jump just behind that fish. I think we're doubled.
They're doubled.
We're doubled. That's all it was. That was the case.
That's called double Dutch. They're doing a double Dutch bust.
And what's that? What's the possibility for sailfish, right? 75 a piece. This could be another 150, and it jumps Quantified up. They would be into second.
Look at this. Let's see what we got here. Is this a triple?
If they get it.
Is this a triple?
Oh, man.
Wait a second.
That would be a first.
Oh, Sean.
Oh, Sean. And we say this every time because Gypsy, last year at the OBBC, caught a monster tuna, and they said we won this sucker, and we always go back to, oh, Sean.
Oh, Sean, we won this sucker. That's exactly what it was.
Sucker. It might have been sucker. It might have been something different. But it was really close to that.
We've definitely got 2 on, not 3. I thought he might have been getting a bite. Maybe he did. Little tangle.
Hey, let's look at the people on board. Farthest to the left, in the left corner. Got one on, yes or no?
Yes.
One to the right in a picture right now. Is that the question mark?
No, he's got one on as well.
Okay, so now we're looking at one more person to the right than we thought a moment ago there was a possibility.
I think it came off. I think he got bit. Looked like it popped out of the rigger. He went through, went under, and it might have been a bite.
Yeah, so he's gone.
Or he might have just been trying to get out of the way. That was kind of a lot of action that's happened there. We're just kind of watching it, trying to, decipher what's happening in the back of the pit.
So we're seeing live all in with something of more size, we would say. A sailfish probably not going to take that long to get up, right?
Definitely not unless it's tail wrapped or if it's foul hooked. You know, I've hooked, sailfish, believe it or not, with a circle hook in the dorsal, just below in the back, like in the shoulders, and it takes forever to get them in.
White marlin generally don't take this long to get in. We've seen him fighting for a while, but it kind of looked like white marlin to start, but the longer he stays here, could it be a blue?
It could be a small blue that hasn't even figured out that he's hooked yet. It could be a sailfish or a white that is either tail wrapped or could be a line under their peck.
He's making up ground now.
You see some fish jumping there behind Quantified.
Yeah, Quantified out at distance. Again, this is a double up on the left. You see one angler in your picture. Everything you're watching now is 100% live. when the camera sticks, it sticks. It's what we're seeing. We're hoping it picks back up.
And we're not going anywhere, Robbie. We're sitting here. Normally, we're kind of wrapping things up at this point, but when we're watching live footage like this, you just can't. You can't walk away. You can't just, hey, see you tomorrow. We're sticking with you.
In the words of Bill O'Reilly, we're doing it live.
Look at that squid chain swinging around up there in the rigger and all in. Somebody better secure that. You got to bring that down the halyard as I said, it's coming down. It's kind of value slapping him in the face.
There's a qualified catch, right? Didn't we just see contact, or was that with the angler actually? Did he reach and grab the line? He can do that.
He can do that once it gets in the tip, or you can back up and grab it yourself. I've had to do that when we've had quads or 5-bangers on our boat. You got to leader your own fish.
Yeah, I think something was going on there, and he did something, and now
he may have touched the leader for the legal catch.
Yeah, you're seeing the mate wanting to make sure this one gets points. They're getting really close. Leader length is how far? 30?
It's probably a 20-foot leader with a 5-foot bimini, roughly. They're probably using a 30-pound test. And when the fish come together, you want to put your tips together. When they start swimming together, you don't want to spread out. Last thing you want to do. They definitely have a double on the quantified.
And there's a qualified catch there. We gonna see it?
There it is, sailfish.
That was a sail as well? So, God, your eyes are so much better than mine, Peter.
That leader was just over the top of his line.
That
the
was
hook's
his
gone.
line.
Yeah, he was just pulling the leader off. He didn't touch his line. Everything's still kosher.
Yep, that's his. And
Getting
I know
back
in reading
to pickleball,
in reading some of those rules, everything changes from week to week. I mentioned something about that. They couldn't make contact with the leader or something unless they were twisted or something. There's all kinds of weird rules from week to week.
You just basically, once the person's hooked up and they're fighting the fish, you don't touch anything.
Yeah.
If you have to pass something around them, you do the big bear hug, you go under or over, but you never touch anyone's line.
And I know you and I both like the IGFA stuff, like specifically.
Yes.
You're not a big fan of the handle pass?
Correct. Look, he's got the leader in his hand right there, Robbie. Quantified's got another fish on the leader, and it is another sailfish. Double header. It looks like a nice one, too. You see, I just saw a mackerel. That's a mackerel sewn onto the back of that squid chain teaser. So they're trying to catch blues. They're trying to entice a blue to come up. It's a lot of work to rig those mackerel. He's got a ballyhoo in his hand. They're about to redeploy the baits.
I'm thinking more and more that this might be a blue on the right. As long as he's been bowed up, there's a chance. I know you said it could be tail wrap.
That's pretty light tackle he's using. It looks like his rod is pretty pliable at the tip there.
Yeah.
Very soft at the tip, and it didn't have a lot of backbone. But I mean, obviously he's going to get the job done if they just kind of stay the course.
It's just taking a while, though, isn't it? I mean, he was making up ground early.
Yeah, it's definitely not sailfish. And if it were to be a sailfish, just saying, it's either going to be tail wrapped or peck wrapped or foul hooked. That's all I have to say. That's all I got to say about that.
That's all I got to say about that. I didn't even think about a foul.
Okay, see something, the fish is coming up now, so it must not be. It looks like he was getting gained in line there. Let's watch that tip, see if we got any little bounce there.
He's taking his time.
He's got that reel that has the gears in it, high rate of retrieve on that reel. It's got the big gearbox on the right side.
Did they give Quantified their points? Yeah, they did. They're only 150 out of lead behind Saltwalker.
Oh, boy.
So I see 650 for Quantified. Dropped 6B deep back to third place, unofficially with 525.
Quantified caught a sailfish at 238, one at 3, and one at 3. That's a doubleheader right there. So, yeah, you're right, Robbie. They are 150 points away from first place. It's amazing how you can have 8 billfish and be in second place, and the first place boat has 2 billfish.
Yeah.
It shows you how point precious those blue marlin are.
Well, we saw different last year. The one oddball, the little outlier. Last year was the high numbers of white marlin that won it for 6B deep. Here we're seeing sailfish, 7 for Quantified. We've seen sailfish or Quantified win on sailfish. Same way.
Yep. There, as you can see, this fish scoping up a little bit. He's gaining line. The rod tip, I believe they're starting to back. Fish is scoping up, the mate's getting ready. But you can see that rod tip slightly scoped. It's not up and down like it was earlier, like we've seen the entire fight. It looks like he's just trying to gather that line without pumping. He doesn't want to disturb whatever he's done thus far.
This is just for them to get on the board. We do not have a catch from them yet. So whatever they whatever they have will at least get them on the board.
And they traveled all the way here, and it shows you what the Sport Fishing Championship has instilled in Team All In. They're like, hey guys, we love what you're doing. We love it. Come on down, come to Tift. So they made it happen. And that's pretty impressive, you know, to know that these guys came down here to fish this event specifically because of the SFC.
All In started off the year with the first blue marlin at the Louisiana Gulf Coast Billfish Classic, would finish 3rd in that event, behind Breathe Easy and Quick Time.
I gotta say, Robbie, that fish got down and dirty again. Things changed. It was scoping up, and now it's kind of sunk down again. But he is gaining line. Getting close, you heard that.
Gulf leaderboard All In, currently 2nd.
Here it comes.
First.
Here it is, Robbie.
3rd, 6th.
Is that a little blue? I've kind of seen it right.
Right on the surface, it just jumped. Right next to the boat. This is when they're back in full steam. Black smoke popping. He's got the leader in his hand. Qualified catch. Now we need to determine what it is. Little blue.
Ah, did Floyd get one? And the team that took the title at Mississippi Gulf Coast Billfish Classic.
Was it the little blue that could? You know, the kind of blue that doesn't know he's hooked because the tackle's kind of a little lighter than usual, but the captain's still steaming in reverse, as you see. Look at that smoke.
They can't say with certainty what it is, you know? They have to prove it's a blue, right?
Well, the fish jumped already, and now they have underwater footage of the fish next to the boat on the leader.
Yeah. Was it clear enough?
They said it was a blue.
Yeah, you hear him?
Yep,
we already got the release. They're doing it. Now is the time, like, hey, let's bust it off.
Let's see it.
Let's go fishing.
Maybe they'll do a little jumperoo. If not, I'm sure the GoPro will get it. There it is.
The shadow nose.
That's a.
Get it in the water. I want to see it in the water.
On the big camera over there.
They'll feed it to us tomorrow, if they do get some underwater stuff, or today.
This fish is powerful, huh? I mean, they're literally flying full speed in reverse. I'm giving her everything she's got, Captain.
Scotty's your other name.
Beam me up. Got Dr. Spock on the end of the line here. Just goes to show you it's not an exact science. You know, these fish, yeah, everyone's a little different. You know, everyone's a little angrier than the next one, or some of them are very placid, and they'll come to the boat, you know, quickly, and they'll be like, let's just get this over with. But this guy said, nah, I don't like what I see. And these smaller blue marlin tend to be more aggressive, and they tend to be more ornery, the kind that'll pop up and jump in the boat right now. You never know what you're going to see. This is a wild blue. They're the wild blue yonder.
They're wanting to get it. They're wanting to let everybody see it, you know?
They definitely have it on GoPro.
Yeah. Little smoke on the water.
Fuck, it's in the sky.
Done.
Where's your designated?
I got him. Look at that. Team All In closing us out with a blue marlin release. Live.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and they're second in the championship, Gulf Championship. They're one of the teams that could win the title.
Blue marlin.
They've already got a victory on the year.
Skunks off the boat.
It shows you the importance, though, Peter, for All In as they move up into 4th right now. If they win this event, they'll have 2 wins on the season, right? We know Quantified has 2 wins in a second. It could come down to the White Marlin Open getting a victory. It's going to be tough. It's going to really be tough. Or do I pack up and head to Puerto Rico and try and take a win there to win the SFC? That's everything that Quantified did not want to see.
Well, they're tied for 4th right now, Robbie. We got Saltwalker with 800, Quantified with 650, 6B Deep with 525, and then we got 2 teams. 4 teams tied for 4th.
All In is 1 fish away from jumping into 2nd now and jumping ahead of Quantified. So it just shows you how quick things can happen. We saw 3 fish catches and releases in a short amount of time. Texas Marine replay of the day. We got a jumper. Team Rebecca. Give them some points.
That's some nice air right there. Almost hit the rigger.
I want to fly away. We're going through all of them today. Yeah, going through all of them. Big rigs have been plentiful. Get those bait fish, catch the big fish, and we've seen quite a few. What are we up to? Over 40 billfish caught on the first day, and we've got about 3¼ hours to go for these teams. Will we see more blues caught, Peter? That's how you make up ground in a hurry.
Hey, that's right, Robbie. And until then, tomorrow, we will do this again.
Yeah, I think 1 local time, 2 o'clock Eastern. We'll do it. We'll be on the web, the YouTube followers. And you know Clayton Anderson's going to be there at the Margaritaville. You can log on to sportfishingchampionship.com. Get your tickets if you're living locally in Port Isabel or South Padre Island.
I wonder what kind of condition everybody will be in tomorrow after that big party. I know you and I will be bright and chipper and happy, but they might be a little worn out.
They'll be burping BioLite by the end of the day because you know you'll need to get some reconnaissance. Hey, we'll be back at it tomorrow for TIFF in Texas.